In this video, we're going to have a look at equivalent equations. So equations where the left-hand side of the equal sign is equal to the right-hand side. So what we're going to have a look at is, first of all, what we can do with them. So that way we can work out how we can solve equations once we know what we're allowed to do with equations and them still being equal or still balancing. So to demonstrate this, I've got what looks like a balance, real basic one that you might see in science. And we put a box on this side and it's balancing with these four over here, these four sticks if you like. So this box is the same as four sticks. So what we might do is see how we could write that as an equation. Well, what I might do is I might call this box over here A, and these four sticks obviously is 4. So because they're balancing, then they must be equal. Okay, so that A is equal to those 4 sticks. So I write that down. A equals 4. I know that because they balance. But if I then go and put another 4 sticks on this side, I already know that that balances with 4 of them. Is it still going to balance? No, because we know that that A, that box, was actually equal to 4. It's not equal to 8. So we have to be a little bit careful here. So if I doubled this side to make it still balanced, because I've got 8 there, then I needed to double that side as well. So we just have to be careful there. I know that I can't just put 4 on here and expect it to still balance. If I doubled this side, then I've got to double that side also. So because we started with every box on there, every A on there is equal to 4 on there. So if I put another box on there, back here, then I've got to put another 4 on there. Alright, well let's have a look at what happens if we put 3 boxes on there. Well, remember, every box, every A was worth 4. So I've got 4 there, another 4 there, and another 4 there. So 3 lots of A is the same as 3 lots of 4, which gives me my 12. So what looks like happening is if I multiply this side by a number, then I have to multiply that side by the same number for that to still balance. So I started off with A, I've now multiplied it by 3 to get 3A. I started off with 4, I've now multiplied it by 3 to get 12. And that's all because I know that every A value equals 4. Well, what happens if I, just to test it out, if I multiplied that by 5? So if I had 5 A's there, how many of these sticks would I need? Remember, every box balances with 4. So I should be able to put, if I put 5 A's there, make that 5 times bigger, then I've got to make that 5 times bigger, and that would be 20. Okay, so the first thing we need to know about equivalent equations is that we are allowed to multiply each side of the equation by the same number, and then that balance or that equation will still be true. So it'll still make sure that it balances. So let's have a look at another equation. A little bit more involved this time. I've got 3 triangles over here, and I've got another 6 sticks. So I can say that that side of the equation, because it's balancing there, that side of the equation is 3 triangles plus 6 sticks. Okay, now you can see that it balances with 6, 12, 18 sticks. So we can see that 3 triangles plus 6 sticks, or 3 triangles plus 6, is the same as 18. So let's have a look at what we can do. Well, if I add another one on this side, for it to still balance, I need to add another one on that side. Otherwise, this side will be heavier. So 3t plus 7 is the same as 19. So I've just added 1 to both sides. What if I add another one? Well, if I do it to both of them, it should still balance. So our equation now is 3t plus 8 equals 20 now, because there's 20 of these sticks here. Well, if I now take those 8 away that I had on there, and I take 8 away from there, as long as I'm doing the same to both of them, it still balances. So these 3 triangles is now equal to 12. Alright, so just to see that again, I had 3 triangles plus 8. I'm going to take those 8 away there, but for it to still balance, I need to take 8 away from there, and we end up with 3 triangles equals 12. So what we can do is we can actually add or subtract the same number to or from each side. So I can add 2 to both sides, or I can subtract 8 from both sides, and the equation will still balance also, so it'll still be true. So far that's 3 things we've learned. We're allowed to multiply both sides. So multiply both sides and it will still be true. We're allowed to add numbers to both sides and it still be true. And we're allowed to subtract numbers from both sides and it will still be true. So let's have a look at another equation here. I've got 12 circles here, and those 12 circles equals 36 of these. So we can write that as an equation. 12c equals 36. We know that that balances. Well, what happens if I halve this side? So divide it by 2. So instead of there being 12, there will be 6. That means I've got to halve this side as well. So instead of there being 36, there will be 18. And that will still balance. Okay, so let's go back to what we started with. Again, 12 circles equals 36. What if we find a quarter of each side? So divide each side by 4. Then I find that 3 circles is the same as 9. Again, started off with 12c, divide both sides by 4, and it will still balance. So again, let's try a different one. Start off with 12c, 12 circles again equals 36. And what we might do is divide both sides by 12. So we actually find that every circle is actually worth 3 of these sticks or 3 markers. So c equals 3. So if I went back to where we had some things before, if everyone was 3, 12 threes, 36. 3 threes, 9, because we said every circle was worth 3. 6 threes, 18. So it does seem to work. So that means we can divide each side of what we started with of the equation by the same number, and it will also be true. It will still balance. So there's some helpful things, 4 things that we've learned about them. So in summary, for an equation to still be true, so for it to still balance, we have to do the same to both sides. That is, if we add the same number to both sides, and it will still work. It will still be true. We could subtract the same number from both sides, and it will still balance. It will still be true. We can multiply both sides by the same number, and we can divide both sides by the same number. So that's important things to know about equations, and that will help us solve some equations which aren't quite so easy to solve by inspection. So I hope you found that useful and that you have a look at some other videos and they might help you solve some one-step equations, which is what we're going to have a look at next.